Someone did it. Always forget.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and move to my next one here. That's supposed to, I could not find a video of the old yellow pages. Remember the old yellow pages? Okay. So Google My Business. You probably are going to recognize the little icon of the little shop with the little awning, the little scrolly awning here. So that's your icon for your Google My Business. And the idea is that you're going to stand out on Google. It gives you an online presence. You want to be able to make sure that your information is always accurate. You can get found all across all devices. You can get reviews on there, and it puts you on a map. And if you don't have a location, you can't have a Google My Business. I mean, it does allow you to say, I don't see people at this location, but you still have to put in an address so that it knows where to send your verification. It has to verify that you're a real person, and it has to know where to reach you. So that's why it sends a postcard to your physical address to make sure that you are where you say you are. So getting found online is like the biggest thing. If you don't have a business listing, no one's going to be able to find you. And you really can't build SEO without it. So this is, today we're going to talk about how to claim and optimize your listing on Google My Business, but we're also going to talk a little bit about the other guys, Bing for Business and Safari. So let's just kind of get into the anatomy of what an organic search really looks like. So here you're going to see that when you do a search, you're going to see the paid results first. And if you're searching for a realtor, before the ad comes up with Google screened ads, and those cost at least $100 a week to have those. And I think they only pretty much do it for real estate. I don't think they do it for other businesses, but I don't know. And then you're going to see a map where they show the top 3 for the local results. And then you're going to see the SERP, which is the search engine results page, where it lists them in order of rankings below that. So, but you can click on more places and go directly to the map. And that's what I did here. So I did a quick search on Walnut Creek Realtor this morning, and you can see, you can scroll down the map. They usually, or scroll down the list. For each page, there's 20 listings. And here you can see Doug is about number 9. Doug Gamblin, and I'm picking on him because I knew Diane would do such a great job on his Google My Business listing that it would have all the parts and pieces I wanted to show you today. So first you see the name. So when I click on Doug Gamblin, his listing comes up. Can you guys see his, you guys can't see my, can you guys see my pointer?
Nope.
Oh shoot, I think that's just because we are recording. Okay, so good thing I circled them. So you see Doug Gamblin up at the top of his listing. It shows that he has 17 reviews, and it has his business information, and then you see the section called products. So don't overlook the products section. You see how that is displayed, and Diane has done a good job putting Doug's listings on here under products. And then there's some categories, and then there's a question and answer, and that's where you're going to find all the photos that you put into your Google listing. This is where you see all the photos and your logo and cover page and all that.
Okay.
And then if we move on down the listing, you're going to come to the review summary. So you can see out of the 17 reviews, he's got a 5.0, which is good. That's the most. And then it's going to show little excerpts of the most recent reviews. And again, then it's going to start showing you more review information. And we're going to keep going down this listing. And after the reviews, the top circle, you can see where it says from Doug Gamblin. So this is his, basically it's your business information, which I always like to put it, make sure you put your DRE in there, by the way. Make sure that this is really where I use your bio, the same bio that's on your website. It is limited in characters, so a lot of times it's not the entire bio, but it does have a more button so they can read more about you. And then it's going to show your posts. So, and again, like I said, I knew Diane would do a good job on this. She's been posting her open houses on there. So this is like free advertising for your sellers, people. So this is like, shows up on an organic search when I search for a Walnut Creek realtor, or a realtor near me if I were in Walnut Creek, and I saw, oh, this one's having an open house today. Let's go look. And then it shows you other profiles where you can find other profiles for Doug. And then remember when we hooked up your Google Search Console and Google indexed your pages, you're going to find some of those index pages here underneath it. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, prior, they would always put other possible searches, and they would have like 5 other agents listed down here, which was really irritating. They don't.
Irritation of the lungs, breathifier, forceful exhale through the nose. We're gonna.
Okay, so that was called an organic search. Now, if I search on Doug Gamblin Realtor as a direct search, you can see the SERP page comes up with the Google My Business listing over on the right side of the page. And then on the left side of the page, all of these are the index pages that Google indexed when we launched your Google Search Console and added it to your website. So, but it also adds your LinkedIn, your realtor.com, your Zillow, your YouTube channel, Facebook. Notice all of those things, the more you have, the more it's going to find on there. And then it's also going to find your YouTube channel and put up your most recent video. But again, you can see that how important this Google My Business is. Because if you search on someone who without a Google My Business, none of this comes up.
I want you to tighten the muscles around the spine. Just feel that, really creating a deep connection with your body right now.
What is
From
that?
here, lift your hands in front of you as you curl the toes and sit onto the heels, stretching out.
Someone has a yoga video playing.
The toes are also on that. Arms straighten up, interlace your fingers, watch your smile.
Ah, okay.
And then erase it. And then afterward, or at some point, doesn't mean I have to.
Can someone turn off their video?
Sorry.
Thank you. So here's the Bing. Bing is the one on, which is called Microsoft Edge. So if you're not using Chrome, you're probably using Edge, and which is actually Bing. And that's Microsoft's version of Chrome. And it's amazing how many people use this, because whenever you get a new computer, this is what shows up. This is out automatically on your computer or laptop when you go buy one, especially if you use Best Buy. And they sell it, or they give it to you for a year for free, I think, when you buy your computer. So it's the same type of thing, though. You're going to see a couple of ads at the top. You're going to see the map results, and then you're going to see the index pages below, the ranked pages below. And again, when I did Walnut Creek Realtor on Bing, different agents show up there. But I clicked on the Nicole DeVico. She's one of my clients, and you can see how her listing looks. It's similar, but it's not totally the same, but it is very similar. Safari, if you go use your phone and do a search on your phone, notice it's exactly what Google My Business has. Exactly. So only the difference here is that it doesn't, when it says more businesses down there, it just scrolls and scrolls, and it may show 60 results instead of just 20 per page. So that's kind of nice, but because then you're not, the viewer doesn't have to click through pages to find you. And if you're not on page 1, let's just face it, they're probably not going to click through to page 2, 3, 4, or 5, maybe page 2, more likely. Now let's go over here. So you're the person with purple hair. You enter your Google My Business listing, and then we create it in Bing and we sync it to Google My Business. Now, as you saw, the Google My Business also propagates into Safari. So these are the top 3 search engines all around the world. A lot of people still use Firefox. I get it. But not very many people do, and that is dwindling. I mean, we're only talking about, let's go ahead and look at this next slide, because this is just the most recent, July 2020 to July 21. Here's the stats for the United States. Chrome gets 48.1%, Safari gets 36.71%, and Edge gets 5.57%. So if your Google My Business listing is the same on Chrome, or from Chrome propagates to Safari, you're hitting almost 90%. So I still think you need to have Bing on Edge listing. I think that's extremely important. So because it gives you another listing to be found, and it doesn't hurt to have it because they all sync together. So anytime you make a change on your Google My Business, it automatically updates Safari and Edge. Any questions on that before we actually get into creating one here?
Nope.
All right. So I am going to get my other computer here all set up for a second. And I am going to switch my share. Okay, so the only reason I came over to Doug's is because I know I can get into his Google My Business. So notice it has Doug Gamblin, Walnut Creek Realtor here. If I go to the Gamblin website, there's Diane and Doug waving. Hello, everybody. And then I go to the tab up here, it says Doug Gamblin, Walnut Creek Realtor. The same thing that it says right here. And if I go to his YouTube channel, you guys can see the YouTube channel. I want to make sure you're seeing the right channel. The right screen here. It says Doug Gamblin, Walnut Creek Realtor.
We see it.
Okay, awesome. So these are all named exactly the same. So right now we have apples to apples. Even the address is done the exact same way. The suite is spelled out. Everything is exactly the same. That's the way Google knows it's you, and it can link those accounts. So otherwise, there could be lots of Doug Gamblins out there. Hold on, Adri. Yeah. I hate it when little ones are sick. And Kelly has this week of school left, and then she's out for a month. So
Aw,
I know they're on year-round school, so they're totally different than regular school schedules. Okay, so here's Doug Gamblin's YouTube. Here is his Google My Business, and notice both of them are found up here, which is great. So if you go to, this is the home page, so this is what his listing has in it, and you can go to, there's a lot of things that you can actually get from here. Like if you want to share your review form from here, you can get your review form. You click on it, that's the form that you would send to someone to write a review on Google. If you have one of my websites, I prefer that you use it from your website. Just copy the URL from your review page. And that way that gives them a choice. But let's go to the info page real quick. This is where you're actually setting it all up. So Doug Gamblin, and it has his hours, his info, appointment links, products, services, his bio, and then there's photos. So those are the things that you want to make sure are always correct. And then up here is where it says post, that's where you're going to post. But before we get into the post, I want to also go to, first of all, I want to go down here to business. So you can see Doug has one business listing. If you have multiple addresses, for example, you can add a business and create another Google My Business with a different address. So you always want to make sure that whichever profile that you're seeing or that you're working is the right one that you want to work in. But if you have additional businesses, they can all be tied to the same Google My Business account, just under different listings. And again, this is just like a yellow page listing, the old yellow book. So let's go back over here. Users. If you have an assistant, you can add a user. Or let's say you have multiple emails. So here's my rule of thumb. Never create any kind of Google online Bing, I don't care what it is. Never use your broker's email. If you're Keller Williams, don't use your @kw.com email. If you were to ever leave that brokerage or even just retire, you lose everything. You lose your YouTube channel, you lose everything because that email gets deleted. So always use a personal email when you create these accounts, okay? But you can add your KW email as a user. So now you can access the same account from both your personal email and your work email. And that's fine, because you can, if you keep your personal email as the primary owner and make your work email add them as an owner, you can always delete them. You can go in here and just X. I won't delete you, Diane, I promise. So that's how you add users. So let's go to the info. Let's go down here where it has insights. Diane's doing very good. She's got, this is always a little bit behind. You want to see a lot of blue in here because that's an organic search. The green is direct And then if they're actually searching for your brand itself, that's the yellow. But discovery is people that have found you through an organic search. So that is where you want to see more blue than anything else. You can also change it. I'd like to see a whole quarter to get a better picture of it. And Diane, 835 people have found you in the last 3 months on your Google My Business listing. That's pretty awesome. So let's look at the quarter on this one too. And this is view your business on Google. So this is a listing on search, and look at this orange. That is fantastic. This is on the search pages, the SERPs, listing on the maps. So he's actually getting found more on the SERPs than he is on the map. That's usually vice versa. So that's pretty awesome. And then this is about what action that they take. Do they visit your website? Do they request directions? Do they call you? Do they send a message? And you're probably not going to see a whole lot here because once they go to your website, they may call you or whatever from there. So this, I don't pay a lot of attention to this. Direction requests, again, I don't put a lot into that. Photo reviews, this is where they find you on the map and they click call. I don't put a lot into that one either because I don't think you're not a restaurant. So I don't think that's very likely that people are going to do that. This is photos. So this is other real estate agents, businesses like you, 220 for the quarter. And this is 2,190. So you always want to be better than everybody else. So you want to make sure that you're always adding photos in here. Especially if you have a new listing. Go in and put 3 or 4 or 5 photos in there. And then create a post. So when you're setting this up, you always want to make sure that you put your logo and you have a cover photo. So here's this cover photo and here's this logo. So you want to create those. I use Canva to create these. You don't have to do anything with the your logo except for upload it, but at least have some sort of cover page. And if you don't have it, and I created one for your YouTube channel, and I probably also built your Google My Business. So if you don't have that, you can always ask me for it. But people can also click on these. And, oh, they don't let you save them anymore. They used to. So that's fine. That's good. That's good news. But now that means that other people can also put in photos in here. But Diane, you've done a great job of putting your listings and some good photos of the area. A lot of stuff. So you can see why she had, Doug has such a high mark for video, I mean for photos. So let's go ahead and look at posts. Or yeah.
Diane, excuse me, Patsy, are there captions to those photos? Can you put descriptors on those photos?
You can, but you
Okay.
have to do it as an image. You can't put it on once you've uploaded it. No.
Got it. Okay.
So use that in Canva, upload your photo and put some text over it and save it as an image. PNG files are perfect for this. So that's what I would use. So when you come in here to post, you can create a new post right here. See this little icon down here? And you're going to click that. And what you're going to get to say whether it's all or you have a special offer, free commission. No, just kidding. What's new? Events. So if it is an event, go ahead and put it down as event because it comes up as an extra category. And even an open house could be an event. What's new is like if you're just posting like I've got a new listing, put it in as what's new. So when we create one, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on this. Here's where you can create your, you say what it is. Is it a new product? Is it what's new? A new product could be your new listing. What's new? It could be another post on your current listing, or it could be something that in contract or gone pending or sold. Create an event if you're going to do open houses, and then you're just going to copy and paste it in here. If I say what's new, I can add a photo, and notice down here I can do up to 10 photos. So you want to make sure that you add a photo. You want to capture their attention. You can copy and paste your property description if it's a new listing. Make sure you put in your DRE number if it's not there, and then add a button. So here, it's really important to make sure that you drive traffic to your website or ask them to call. But I prefer using Learn More, especially if you have a single property website. You click on Learn More, and then you put the URL to that single property website. And then it lets you preview your post. Now, this is somebody's actual post, so I'm not gonna, but it lets you go through all the pictures. And let's see, it lets you share from here. It lets you view the post on search. I can show you what that looks like. Pretty cool, right, guys? So all of you that spend so much time putting all of this on Facebook, do me a big favor and put it on your Google My Business first, so you get credit for that content instead of Facebook. Because any content that you put on here, you're getting credit, you're driving traffic to your website, and it's got to be original content. Okay, so you can't create a post in here and just put a URL and have it show up like you can in Facebook. So like from a YouTube channel, YouTube video or something, you can put it in there, but it doesn't give any kind of preview or bring any information in. So you have to make sure that you do it, you put in your content. You guys know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So anything more on how to do this part? It's very, when you're creating a new listing, it's going to walk you through all the stuff that you have to do. And then it's going to say, we've got, you have to be verified. Now, I will say, Doug, and I pick on him a lot in this stuff, because when we first created his Google My Business, I want to say it was between 3 and 4 months before he got verified, before his listing actually went live. There was a huge issue with Google My Business going on, and it took their engineers months to fix the problem. It was horrid. Now you get, it's almost instantaneously. It may let you verify by phone by sending you a verification code, but chances are it's going to send you a postcard, and it takes 5 days for you to get that postcard, and you have to make sure you're watching for it, because as soon as it comes in, you need to go in and verify your Google My Business listing using the PIN number that comes on that postcard. Now, I think mine accidentally got thrown out with the junk mail because I don't get my own mail. But so I've had to request another one. That's why I'm not using my own account today. And I'm hoping it will be here today. But make sure that you watch for that Google My Business postcard, because that PIN number on that postcard is what they want to verify with.
Patsy, I have a question about this verification.
Sure.
How does this relate to, I'm constantly getting phone calls from all over the country, these unsolicited Google calls to verify my business. I mean, it's never ending. Does this relate to that? I mean, what's the deal with that? Do you know?
Well, Google's a business and they want to sell you on, like the Google screened ads. They want to sell you on ads. And Google has all kinds of business marketing where they'll actually go in and they'll tell you, they will call you and say, your SEO sucks and we can do a really good job with this and sell you on a business marketing program where they manage it all. Now, I'm going to tell you that I'm currently working with an agent that has a Google My Business account. She has a YouTube channel because she hired the Google marketing team to do a lot of her social media stuff. They also created a Facebook page for her. Krista, that happened to you too, right?
I'm sorry. I haven't really had much luck on my Facebook or anything.
But didn't you hire a marketing company years ago that created a Facebook business page?
And they went crazy. Yeah. And then you know what happened? I think it was through Zillow or something. And then Zillow knew nothing about their Facebook pages anymore when it came time to renew. Nobody knew anything.
Yeah. So a lot of these, to answer your question, Tom, please, please, please ask me first. If these guys come in and they're trying to sell you on a program that they're usually not cheap and they usually go in and mess everything up. But like Krista with that Facebook page, she had no access to whatever login and password is in that Facebook business page. She has no access to it, no control over it.
It seems as if they're hired, that they have all these independent contractors all over the country doing these solicitations.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you know what? Here's the deal. And you're going to laugh. But when they do an organic search and you come up on page 1 or 2, because they found you, they know you exist. So your SEO doesn't suck. It just needs to be worked a little bit more. If you're on page 2, if you're on page 1, you just have to maintain that and make sure you're there. But if you don't show up at all in any kind of organic search, they don't even know you exist. So it's ironic that they find people that have great SEO and then they call them and say, your SEO sucks, we can help.
So I guess I'm wondering if there's a way to shut down all of these solicitations and let them know, hey, I'm okay. It's like spam calling. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You can tell them, take me off your list when they call.
Yeah, I always do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then somebody else comes in. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
But as salespeople, we know that, I mean, I've never been a fan of cold calling and learning scripts in sales, but even real estate agents do a lot of cold calling and, work off of scripts. And so you know what it's like to be that salesperson out there too.
Yeah.
So at the same time, we have to be, empathetic a little bit, but also it always makes me smile when people complain about that because that means that they're getting found.
Yeah.
So that's your Google My Business. So in Bing, let's see if I can switch. Let's see. Let me switch my screen over here. All right, can you guys see my Bing listing over here?
Yes. Which one is? Hmm?
This is Microsoft Bing, see up here in the corner? So a lot of times I have to go incognito because it actually is going to log in. You can log in with your Google email. So when you go in here, you want to say Bing for business. And you don't want this Yelp one. You don't want this Microsoft advertising line. Is bingplaces.com. So you're going to click on that and you're going to come up. This is part of what I do for your online branding, by the way, and it can get a little complicated. So if you don't, I'm not saying you guys do this on your own because it can get really messed up if you don't know what you're doing. But I'm trying to really show you today, mostly not how to do it, but what the need is for it and how it works for your benefit. So in here it says, get started. So what you're going to do in here is you can actually log in with your Google My Business email and link it and sync it and do all that stuff. And I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have anyone to link and sync at this point. So I just wanted to show you that where it exists. And it's really easy. And I've had a couple of agents try to do this on their own, and they ended up setting up a Yelp account instead. And they were like, oh, I didn't want Yelp calling me. So, but Tom, you already have all this. And Jen will have all this soon too.
Super excited.
Yeah. So Google My Business is really an important thing to have. It's very important to make sure that you are, let me go back over here. Make sure that you have everything set up as the same name. And when I talk to you about SEO and what is your primary city, you can't be like the West Coast real estate agent. So if we look at keywords, Google's keywords, because Google is the #1 search engine around the world. So I let Google tell me how many times a month are these keywords searched. And we go through those until we find what is the best keyword. And you don't need to say Doug Gamblin, Keller Williams Realtor. You're not advertising Keller Williams, you're advertising yourself. You are the entrepreneur, and your website, your Google My Business, your YouTube channel, your Bing for Business, it all has to be named exactly the same. And because it's proximity, they want to put you on a map, remember? They're going to put you on a map. So if I go over here, let me go incognito here and say, let's look at Santa Rosa Realtor. Here's those Google screen ones that cost money. And because there's so many of them now, 7 million, 7.5 million, you're only going to show up not very often there, by the way. So right here is the map, and Google has to find you on a map. It's everything online is proximity located. So you can't just say, I want to be known for as a real estate agent in Northern California. that's my SEO. It doesn't work that way. If no one's searching on Northern California realtor, you built SEO for those keywords with no end result because no one's searching it. So we have to know how many people search on a monthly basis for Walnut Creek Realtor or Walnut Creek Real Estate Agent, et cetera, in order to know which ones to use. I'm going to show you and you can't get there unless you have a Google My Business, by the way. So you cannot get here unless you have a Google My Business account. So I'm going to show you one. Before I go to Santa Rosa, let me do Concord Realtor. So this is a really good example of how we worked on Rebecca's. Now, Rebecca, a lot of times she's up here. She usually beats Todd out. Her and Todd go back and forth, but both of them usually beat Simon out. He gets up here now and then. But Rebecca, all three of these are my clients. But the reason I'm coming here is because Rebecca's address is Walnut Creek. He's Danville and he's Walnut Creek. So he's using an address in Walnut or in Concord, which is not the right thing to do. Not that Todd is doing something wrong. I'm not saying that. But you always want to use your market center address. EXP is actually breaking out of that and is getting a lot of the DRE rules changed because they're a cloud-based system. So like Jenna's in Seattle, and I don't know if you have the corporate headquarters of San Ramon address, but even agents up in Placerville or Reno or Tahoe, they have the San Ramon address. So they cannot brand themselves in San Ramon because they don't work in that market. It's miles and miles and miles apart. So EXP is actually blazing several trails for real estate agents to get away from, what address is required on them. But if you see Rebecca Loboszewski, she's here as on the top for Concord Realtor because we worked really hard. She worked really hard building her SEO up to get there. But if I put in Walnut Creek, now yesterday she was on here at the very bottom, but she was on here for Walnut Creek as well. And it depends on the hour, it depends on the day. We've got quite a few of our clients up here. I'm not seeing her here on Walnut Creek. She was on page 1 yesterday. So let's go to Martinez Realtor. She may have her hours set wrong or set differently, but see, Laura's on page 2 today too, so something is up with all of this. But she was actually on page 1 for Martinez. There's Yana. So the idea is that once you get SEO for your primary city, you're going to see that all of a sudden you're getting found for other nearby locations. It automatically kind of spreads out. And from your, like you have this small radius and then it just keeps growing and growing. And pretty soon you're getting found in other nearby cities on page 1. And I was hoping to demonstrate that, and Diane can vouch for me. It depends on the day and the time, who shows up where.
It drives me insane.
Because if I put in Pleasant Hill Realtor, See, Laura was right up here. Yeah, she's getting close to the bottom. And Rebecca Loboszewski was here for Pleasant Hill too yesterday. So something's changed. But notice, and again, it'll change for a moment and then it will change back. So it just depends on the time of the day. And always go incognito because it already knows who you searched if you're not incognito, and it's going to automatically bring those up. So any questions on Google My Business and the importance of it and how it propagates for Safari? And because if you look at Safari, it's identical. So it is your Google My Business listing. Do you guys understand what it means to have a listing better?
Yeah.
It's extremely important. But you've got to feed the beast. And I know people get really tired of me saying that, but Google is the beast and we have to feed them by using posts, products, constantly feeding them. You should post at least once a week, if not 3 times a week on your Google My Business.
Can I give a little suggestion for posting, Patsy?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll like the suggestion. Sometimes I'm like out. I'm like, what am I going to post? Blah, 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 blah. And I love to just go to the website and find a relevant page. Maybe it's a tip for buyers or home valuation or whatever, and just quickly make a post. So once a week, I try to make sure to pull something from the website. And it's easy. It's already done. You just kind of rework a few words, and it literally takes 5 minutes to do that.
So movable feast, is that one of them?
It is.
Okay, so let's look at this one. And what she's talking about is you don't want to, copy the content word for word. You can copy it, but you've got to go in and work it. So it's got to be original content, people. Otherwise, Google's going to go, you just stole this from someone else. So, but just wordsmithing it so that it like flipping a sentence inside out, changing words, use synonyms, that kind of thing. You want to change the perspective from first person to third person, for example. There's a lot of things that you can do just to wordsmith it. Thank you, Diane. Any other suggestions for us? You can put little GIFs on and video, by the way. I think there's a limit to, is it 45-second video?
Yeah, I find that it's easier to keep them around 30 seconds. That way you know they're going to actually load. And it will usually tell you they've been rejected, but then when you come back later, they're not rejected. So you'll get rejection notices pretty often, and try to ignore that because they usually show up okay.
Good. Oh yeah, Google's not, ooh, that's a cool one. That's, I recognize that one. That from Magisto?
It is.
Magisto is the same video program that you're using now on the dashboard of Wix. They have partnered with Magisto, so you can see that the types of styles that you can do. It's really cool. So you'll get to know Magisto. You can also use it on your phone for free. You can download the app. Good job, everybody. Any other questions before I say goodbye and try to get my grandbaby back to bed?
Aww. No, but thank you. This was very informative.
Good, good. Yeah, it's called Feeding the Beast. So I would rather you post on here than in Facebook. Be sure to make sure that this is where you post first. All right, everybody, I'm going to stop my screen share.
Okay, have a great
And my
day.
recording.